and the climate regions of the Middle East. Starting on, let's see what page this is, 442. Physical features. Picture this. The people of Turkey's Garom Valley dwell in the cliffside apartments carved by nature. These mountain homes have storerooms and lower levels and family living quarters that include kitchens. Telephone-like devices allow family members to communicate from different floors. Wind and rain, as well as volcanoes and earthquakes, have shaped the rock and valleys of this land. Read on to find about the landforms of North Africa, Southwest Asia, and Central Asia. The region's landforms. The region includes a variety of landforms that affect how and where people live. Geography and you. When you hear about floods, do you picture terrible damage and the loss of life? Read to learn why people in ancient Egypt welcomed rather than feared the river floods. The region of North Africa, Southwest Asia, and Central Asia extends from the Atlantic coast to northwestern Africa to towering mountain ranges in the middle of Asia. Varied landforms and waterways lie in between. Sea and waterways. Look at the physical map in the regional atlas to see oceans and seas that surround North Africa, Southwest Asia, and Central Asia. These bodies of water have helped people trade more easily with the rest of Africa, Asia, and Europe. 4 waterways control access to these seas. In the west, the Strait of Gibraltar, separating Africa and Europe, links the Mediterranean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean. In the north, the Dardanelles Strait, the Sea of Marmara, and the Bosphorus Strait link the Mediterranean and Black Seas and separate Europe from Asia. On the North Africa's eastern edge, there is a human-made waterway called the Suez Canal. Ships use this canal to pass from the Mediterranean Sea to the Red Sea, north of the Arabian Peninsula. The Strait of Hormuz allows the oil tankers to enter and leave the Persian Gulf. Mountains, plateaus, and lowlands. All 3 areas within the region have somewhat similar landscapes. In North Africa, and the Atlas and the Hagar Mountains extend across much of the west. The rest of North Africa is covered by low plains and low-lying plateaus. Like North Africa, Southwest Asia has a rugged landscape. Tectonic plates movements beneath the mountains still shake the ground and cause deadly earthquakes. The Zagros Mountains stretch southeast through Turkey and Iran. The Hindu Kush Range crosses Afghanistan and the Khyber Pass. The Khyber Pass is a narrow gap sometimes barely 50 feet wide between mountains in the Hindu Kush. It has been used as a trade route linking Southwest Asia and other parts of Asia. Central Asia holds several lofty mountain ranges. The Pamirs and the Tian Shan lowlands were included in a large area along the Caspian Sea and several desert seas. Throughout North Africa and Southwest Asia and Central Asia, coastal plains support agriculture. Rivers. Because the region is rugged and dry land, people long settled in the river valleys to take advantage of the rich soil. Early civilizations developed along the Egypt's Nile River and Southwest Asia Tigris and Euphrates rivers. The ancient Egyptians relied on the Nile's yearly flooding. The floods not only supplied water but also carried silt. Small particles of rich soil, the silt made the land fertile for growing crops. Flooding of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers in the region called Mesopotamia also led to civilization based on farming. Mesopotamia is located on an alluvial plain, an area of fertile soil led by river floods. Farmers built channels and ditches to bring water to their fields. Hey guys, pause this really quickly. This is one of those words that you're going to explain the meaning using a sentence. So alluvial plain is an area of fertile soil led by river floods. So include alluvial plain in a sentence. That's number 1. Pause the video if you need to, and then let's move on. All right, next one. Natural resources. The region of North Africa, Southwest Asia, and Central Asia have many resources. Petroleum and natural gas, 2 of the region's most plentiful resources, are vital to economic throughout the world. Oil and gas, the largest reserves of petroleum and natural gas, can be found in the area of the Persian Gulf. Oil is common here because the land is made up of sedimentary rock. This rock is created when layers of material are hardened by intense weight of more materials piled above. Over millions of years, heat and pressure below the Earth's surface helped turn the remains of sea animals and plants into oil. The oil collected in the gaps between the rocks. Some of the region's countries have gained great wealth from selling oil. This wealth has been used to develop new industries and provide benefits to the region's people. Oil wealth has brought challenges too. Oil income has made some countries in the region very wealthy. In some countries that are not rich in oil resources have remained poor. Also, because of television and the internet, cultures in oil-rich countries have become more exposed to ideas from other parts of the world. As a result, conflicts sometimes develop in the region between people who support new ways and people who favor traditional customs and values. So here is the estimated reserves of the different places around the Persian Gulf, and then result of their annual production. This is a 2006 graph, by the way. Other resources. In addition to oil and natural gas, the region has many important resources. Both coal and iron ore are found in the region. Morocco and Kazakhstan have rich deposits of phosphates, which are mineral salts used to make fertilizer. Go ahead and pause this really quickly. You're going to go back to phosphates. Phosphates is what you're going to do next for number 1. And then while you're doing that, go ahead and pause the video up here on the graph. Number 2 says, where can the largest reserve of petroleum and gas be found? Okay, you can mention this specific country, or you can go up here and talk about this different area that we talked about earlier. So list a specific country where we can find the largest reserves of petroleum. All right, environmental concerns in the seas. Water is a scarce resource in North Africa, Southwest Asia, and Central Asia. While trying to improve their lives in the harsh environment, people have misused the area's waters. The region's 2 inland seas, the Caspian and the Aral, have suffered greatly in recent decades. In the Caspian Sea, poaching, which is illegal fishing or hunting, has decreased the number of sturgeon, the fish whose eggs are used to make caviar. This drop has hurt the fishing industry in the countries around the Caspian Sea. The Aral Sea, which is shared by the Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, has been badly damaged. During the 1960s, irrigation projects, mainly for cotton production, drained water from the 2 main rivers that fed the sea. Inadequate amounts of rainfall could not restore the sea's water level and began drying up. In addition, the sea's water became saltier and unfit for drinking. This change also harmed the sea's fish population. Recent efforts to save the Aral Sea have included building dams and dikes to help increase water levels, which in turn lowers the salt levels. Today, the sea's water levels slowly beginning to rise and fish stocks are growing again. Other environmental issues. The misuse of water has also harmed the land through North Africa, Southwest Asia, and Central Asia. Because the climate is so dry of the region, irrigation water often evaporates. This can leave behind a deposit of salt that makes the land less fertile. In some cases, the damage is great, and the land can no longer be farmed. Dams built to control flooding have both benefited and harmed the environment. In 1968, Egypt's government opened the Aswan High Dam on the Upper Nile River. By controlling the river's floodwaters, crops have been grown and harvested throughout the year. In addition to the dam provides electric power to Egypt's growing cities and industries. Aswan High Dam also negatively affects on the environment. The dam has blocked the flow of silt down the river, thus the Nile cannot enrich the soil, and it has in the past. Farmers have to use expensive fertilizers to make the land more productive. These chemicals run off the land, back into the river, and pollute it. In addition, the reduced flow of fresh water into the river has also allowed the Mediterranean Sea's salty waters to reach deeper into the Nile Delta. As a result, some of the farmlands in this area have been ruined. Air pollution also is a growing problem. A large number of cars in the region are older, and they release more polluting fumes. Refineries, go ahead and stop the video, and you can answer for refinery. These are the facilities that turn petroleum into gasoline, and other products also pollute the air.